Hi, I'm Angie with Angie's Quilting Studio. Today I have a quilt top that I sewed up and I want to make it into a quilt, but I don't have that much batting. So what I am going to do is I'm going to piece all the little pieces that I've saved and piece those together to make what we call a Franken batting. I do want to say that if you're wondering how these hold up, I do have a quilt on my bed that I've had for, let's see, I did it a year and a half ago, and it's held up just fine. I have had no problems with it, nothing, and I've washed it several times. Nothing seems to be unraveling on the inside or anything, so they hold up very nicely. So I'm going to show you how to do this. I also had to piece together the backing because I didn't have enough of the backing. So, and I hate to go out and just buy a bunch of fabric if I can just piece it together, if I have enough to piece it together. So I'm going to show you how I do that. So I have this piece that I've already done a little bit to, and I want to put this little piece, it's kind of a long piece, I want to sew that to it, and that will be the perfect size of what I need for the quilt that I'm making. So I'm going to show you how I do that. But you just want to make sure you're going to keep it, just keep it side by side here, and make sure that those little dimples, they're both facing either up or down. Just whichever one you want to do is fine. It's just they have to both be facing the same way, because that does make a difference when you go to quilt it. Now the color of the thread doesn't matter, but what I would suggest is not get a really dark thread. I mean, it's going to be between your quilt, the front and back, so you won't be able to see it, but it might kind of shine through if it's a lighter color quilt and you're using dark thread for your piecing. But you want to make sure you just put it on a zigzag stitch, and it doesn't really matter which one. Stitch length doesn't really matter, because you're just going to follow there's a little groove on this presser foot, and this is just the regular presser foot that I came with the sewing machine. But there's a little groove right in the middle. That's what I'm going to follow along to sew my pieces together. Got down to the bottom here, and I must have pieced this together before, because here's a big piece that was pieced onto this one. So what I'm going to do is just going to sew over this with the zigzag stitch, and then I will cut this extra off after I get done. My backing is a little bit too short for my quilt, so I'm going to go ahead and iron this part, just a little piece of a backing, and sew it down to the backing, kind of piece it together to make it to where it will fit on my quilt. So I'm going to go ahead and do that today, and then I will quilt it. I have my big wool quilting mat under here to make it lay nice and flat. If you want to know where I got this, then just send me a message. I'm on Instagram. At Angie's Quilting Studio. I'm also on TikTok or whatever. You can just message me and I'll tell you where I got this if you are interested in your own big wool cutting mat. We can cut it to any size that you want. Not worry about the selvage edge right now because I am going to probably cut the edges off after I sewed them. I'll tune up my backing. Now I'm going to open my seams up to give it a lot less bulk and press those open. As you can see, I already had to put piece some together to make it a little bit wider. It wasn't wide enough for the quilt, so but I'm gonna go ahead and paste this. Once you quilt everything down, then then you won't even notice these seams on the back of the quilt. You can also, if you want to, you know, piece them with different type of material. I just did all the same, but you could do different type of material, make a little bit more like a piece back. I'm just going to go ahead and finger press these open, make it a little easier for me to press them with the iron. If you have one that's a little bit stubborn, you can use the best press and press it down. I think these are going to be fine. So I'm just going to leave them as is. And here's the batting. It doesn't look like much now, you know, because it's going to be between my quilt and you won't be able to see it. But this is what it looks like. Just some zigzag stitches just to connect the two battings together. So, and as you can see, some of them, there was some overlapping because it wasn't quite straight, but I'll trim those off before I do my quilt top. And that's how I do my Franken batting. So I will go ahead and probably these little pieces I'm going to continue to keep. They're the pieces that I cut off of that because they're a little bit too wide, too big for it. So I will keep this. I may make some mug rugs at Christmas time or something like that with these little pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and keep those. And I also have some even littler pieces here. So I will do something with those. I'll just keep them in a drawer and maybe even doing some Franken batting with these to make some wall hangings. So I'll let you know if I'll show you those if I do those. But thanks for watching. If you have any questions on how to do that, definitely let me know in the comments below and I'll get those questions answered for you. Stay tuned for next week because I am going to quilt that quilt top that I was working on. I'll just quilt the backing and the front of the quilt together. Next week I'm going to show you how I load that onto my long arm. So stay tuned next week for that. Don't forget to hit the like button if you like this video and subscribe to my channel. So thanks for watching.